Hey, welcome back, survivors, to another edition of Surviving the Badge.
Cheers.
We're here tonight at John's Bar, and tonight we're going to be talking about the horrific events that occurred in Maine and the shootings that occurred there, along with some other things. So stick around. You don't want to miss this show. It's going to be extremely interesting. All right, welcome back. Hey, we're going to go through a quick beer moment here. John got us some beer. Go ahead.
Today we got Sun King Brewery. It's the Orange Vanilla Sunlight Cream Ale. It's going to be a creamsicle. I can feel
that's
it.
actually good. I like that.
Oh, I can smell it's a creamsicle.
Yeah, I'm going to give that like a 7.5. That's really good. I'm enjoying that.
Yeah, a little sweet, but I'm going to give it an 8.
Sweet, but could lawnmower beer. Okay.
Right.
I'm going to give it a 7.8.
Oh, that's like an 8, 7.95.
Yeah.
Perfect.
And so who sponsors our beer?
Tonight's sponsors for our beer moment, as always, is B. Kristen and Tom Clem, Realtor. If you're ready to buy a new home or move to the Central Florida area, these two folks right here are who you want to contact. Kristen is a former school teacher, and Tom, we'll get into him in just a minute. These folks are absolutely fantastic. Thank you for your sponsorship. And our second beer sponsor is going to be Clem & Company Property Investments. Yes, that's Tom Clem, same gentleman. He is a veteran Marine, and he's also a retired sergeant out of the law enforcement field here in Central Florida. Thank you for your service, my friend, and thank you for your sponsorship. If you guys are ready to sell that piece of property and just get out from underneath it, you want to call Tom at Clem & Company Property Investments. They are thebomb.com.
Thanks for the beer, guys.
Thanks for the beer, guys. Salute. Thank you.
All right. So
right,
as of right now, we've had 99 officers killed in the line of duty through various means. 99. So we're going to salute you, officers.
And let's pray to God it does not hit 100.
That's right.
Yep.
Salute.
Christmas miracle.
Salute. All right, so
God bless.
we're going to talk about the shooting in Lewiston, Maine. Robert Card, we're all aware of what happened. Robert Card ended up going to a bowling alley, and then he went somewhere else. He ended up killing 18 and injured another 13.
Why has he got to pick on a bowling alley?
Because it's a gun-free zone.
Sorry, bowling coach boy.
No.
Is it a gun-free zone because of it? There's a bar, or in Maine are bowling alleys gun-free zones?
I believe it was a choice of the bowling alley.
Okay.
I honestly am not 100% sure, but I think it was the choice of the bowling alley.
Which they can do.
Absolutely.
But here's an interesting statistic. Okay, since 1950 until I believe it was March of 2023.
Look who's nerding out now.
Listen to this. 94% of all mass shootings occurred at gun-free zones.
Yeah. Shocker. Dun, dun, dun.
That is according to the Crime Prevention Research Center.
Yeah, raise your hand if you're surprised about that.
Yep.
Exactly.
But 94%. If you want to tell me these people aren't picking their targets, picking their locations that they're going,
Absolutely. Yes.
Yeah, let's advertise that no one in this bar or this locale has a gun.
Right.
Let's advertise it.
It's a soft target.
I mean, my God, man.
Now, does that, because there are different definitions of a multiple shooting, because some say if there's 2 victims or 4 victims or
well, I mean,
mass
shooting.
and here's the problem. You are dealing with statistics,
Right.
okay? And you can make statistics say almost anything you want.
Absolutely.
You know, I've told my kids, you know, income taxes causes domestic violence. Because we have more domestic violence between January 1st and April 15th.
So and obviously, you have data to back it up, so therefore it must be a true statistic.
So you can make it say almost anything, but that's a statistic.
You understand
that is hard to.
You understand this also, that everybody who eats carrots will die.
Yes,
that's true.
Okay. Random. All right, go ahead, brother.
Okay, and broccoli. So, who is Robert Card? We're not going to go too far into him. But Robert Card was he was in the Army Reserve, and he apparently threatened to shoot up an Army base. You know, the U.S. Army declared him undeployable.
Right.
And they forwarded information to the Maine police.
The Maine state police. The state police.
State police. Okay. And or Lewiston Police Department, which is where he lived, and or the Sheriff's Department in that jurisdiction where he lived. Apparently, they attempted to make contact with him a couple of times.
Yes.
Okay, but based on the nature of the threat, and I looked into it, Lewiston, Maine Police Department looks like they have about 60 to 70 officers.
Okay. Medium-sized
agency.
Yep.
Okay. Now, if you've got the military calling you saying, "Hey, this guy, you need to make contact with him.
We've got a big concern.
We've got a concern."
I can tell you at our old agency, and you know this, we would be over there every frickin' hour knocking on his door trying to make contact.
We would
have
someone sitting
Well, I
on
was
that
gonna say,
house.
would you guys
cop or something, or
CID or
detectives
something?
or something. I'm telling you, I know for a fact, as a member of the administration, when we got a call like that, it was all hands on deck, and we went out of our way to make sure that the job was done.
Oh, yeah.
Now, would you
It's like-
would you go as far as doing a background and finding family and trying to locate them at those locations?
We would do
or-
everything humanly possible and technologically possible to contact this individual.
Right.
And we would not give up until somebody told us he either died, moved away, or something. We would not quit
now
or give up.
is that required by the Florida red flag laws, or is that agency specific?
I think
because
it's agency specific because, I mean, the agency makes a decision how much manpower they're going to dedicate to this issue.
And it could be one cop,
right.
you know, one cop just watching.
Right.
And going by every 30 minutes,
I
every
mean,
hour.
they're-
And then
whatever.
transfer it to the next cop coming
Right,
out.
absolutely.
I know we had situations where a credible threat came in, and it's like, okay, we're going to put a detail on this house,
Absolutely.
and then the patrol
Done that.
officer assigned to that zone, that became his job until we could get a detail officer there, and then, I mean, sometimes it went on for 2 or 3 weeks.
Yeah.
And guys, we're not saying that this
I'm not
police
criticizing
department
the police
did
department
anything
per se.
wrong. We're not saying
You're
that.
just
We're
talking
saying
procedure.
what we would have done here in Central Florida. That's right. That's
Well,
all
at
we're
least our
saying.
agency.
Right. That's all we're saying.
And that's out of necessity because of this happening so often.
Right.
Where there are indicators and things that have come up and signs that something is going on with this person.
You know, in
and that
19
some type of intervention needs to be done.
in 1985, when I started in this job, it would be like,
Put out your hand, you son of a bitch!
okay, goodbye and see you, knock on the door, because we didn't have the mass shootings like we have now. You know, and
we also didn't have the
Army-
liability laws that we have in place now, where you're going to be held responsible because you failed to act appropriately.
Right.
We're getting to where I wanted to go with this show, because something came up with this Maine situation. Now you got to keep in mind, Maine is a very pro-gun state.
Okay.
They're all hunters. They all have guns.
Are they constitutional carry?
They are constitutional carry.
Okay, which for you guys who aren't sure what that is, constitutional carry is you can carry a concealed handgun, without obtaining a concealed weapons permit. Now, that doesn't mean anybody can carry it. You still have to comply by the laws. You can't be
meet the requirements of a concealed weapons permit. Other
to
than
buy
the-
a gun.
Well,
Right.
no,
to hold and carry.
hold. So-
right, no
so if
convicted
you're-
felons.
If you're
no-
disqualified
to
from
buy a
getting a
gun.
concealed
Right.
weapons permit,
Right.
you're disqualified
Yeah.
from carrying.
So they are constitutional carry,
just like Florida.
pro Second Amendment.
So after this case happened, they started talking a lot.
Yeah.
They started talking a lot about Maine's yellow flag law.
I'd never heard of that until you just said it.
I had not either. Okay, because I've heard all about.
Enlighten us, John.
I will. Okay, red flag laws. They've been popping up. 21 states have red flag laws,
Okay.
which are also known as RPOs or ERPOs.
In
which
a
are-
sentence, can you define a red flag law?
Okay, essentially, it is where a court orders someone to turn over all weapons that they possess
Because of.
because they are a threat to themselves or others.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, now certain states it must be law enforcement initiated. Other states it can be initiated by family or friends.
Okay.
It all depends on exactly how it happens.
Which most times it's initiated by family friends to law enforcement.
Right. Now, Maine's yellow flag law requires that it can only go into effect, based on my reading of the law today, after a law enforcement officer takes someone into protective custody because they are a danger to themselves or others.
Like a Baker Act.
In Florida, we have a Baker Act. But basically, a protective custody situation where someone has been deemed a threat to
Involuntary.
themselves. So it's an involuntary. And then the facility or an independent doctor has to sign off and say that it's he's a danger to himself and others, and then get a court order, and both the judge and the medical personnel have to sign off on it.
So is this what happened, or what happened, John?
Well,
in reality, what happened?
Well, he had apparently voluntarily gone to a mental institution.
Okay.
So it wasn't it wasn't law enforcement.
He was
initiated.
seeking help.
He was seeking help, and because it was voluntary, they didn't have to do anything, and so the yellow flag law never went into effect.
So-
The difference in voluntary and mandated is if they're put, at least in Florida, if they're put in there by a law enforcement officer or a medical professional, they have to spend however long it takes to be evaluated.
72 hours typically,
Well,
right?
up to
72 hours, yeah.
It's almost never.
But if they are put in, if they voluntarily commit themselves, they can walk out until a doctor sees them and holds them. They can walk out the door, just walk in, say, nah, never mind, and walk right back out.
Because it was one of my calls that actually changed our policy, because we used to try and convince them to go voluntarily.
Right. I remember that.
Less paperwork.
Yeah.
Right. But they're still going to get the help.
Yeah.
But then we had a guy who went in voluntarily and then decided, yeah, I don't want to stay here.
And they can't hold them.
And they couldn't hold him. And they're like, they sent me back to the next city over. That's where the facility was. And I had to, and he's holding the whole staff at pen point. He's going to stab someone with a pen.
Right.
We got him, I then did an involuntary act. But after that incident, it was from now on, if someone meets criteria, they will be
Given that
involuntary.
option. Right.
They will be Baker Act.
So let me ask you this. So this situation in Maine did not trigger the official. Now, is it that they didn't have to, or they couldn't if he voluntarily?
Well, they didn't contact him,
They didn't make contact.
so it doesn't matter.
Okay.
If they didn't make contact, I'm sure they would have involuntarily.
So why did they not make contact with him?
Because they didn't apply the resources.
Yeah, they didn't keep
okay.
going back.
So the
back.
military says, "Hey, this guy's," and they didn't.
But here's a problem I have, though.
Or did they not do it because there's like, well, we don't have to because he's seeking.
No.
Voluntary.
As far as I understand it, they made reasonable attempts, not valiant attempts,
Okay.
but made reasonable attempts.
Right.
Okay, but one of the things I have a problem with, and this happens a lot with law enforcement in the military. Okay, even misdemeanor exceptions in the state of Florida. If you get a sworn written statement from a military law enforcement officer you can take action on that.
Okay.
Okay. Law enforcement, military law enforcement, they drop the ball all the time.
Right.
They don't enter things properly into domestic violence databases.
Okay.
You know, they could have provided a sworn statement, I'm sure, to Maine, to a Maine, you know, any of the officers, be it local, county, or state, at which point they would have been able to say, we've got to go pick this guy up.
So what you're saying is both sides dropped the ball a little bit. Military could have done more, and
I think so.
the state police or the county could have done a lot more.
I think military just handed the ball off.
Okay.
Yeah, said okay, we've done our due diligence.
Even though he
We've
was one
notified
of theirs.
somebody. Right? We've notified somebody.
Right.
All right. So what happened in the case?
So
what
he,
happened in the
so
events?
he voluntarily went in.
He had gone in,
Right.
came out, apparently didn't
Didn't get the help he needed.
get the help he needed, and then he went and did what he did in Maine
Well, and he may have got the help he needed at the time.
at that moment.
That's true.
Right, but if he didn't continue to go back and seek, whatever kind of help he needed to continue his
Do we
care,
know the time frame by the time he got out? And
It was
when
about 2 weeks over the summer.
Okay. So there was a decent amount of time.
Right.
It wasn't like immediate.
But you asked about family. When his picture was first put out by law enforcement from the shootings, it was his family who said, "That's him." I'm telling you, that's who it is.
Yeah.
And they had to try. They had tried to seek help for him, but and people were looking for this Maine yellow flag law to actually become the standard for the rest of the country. And it probably could be, because it balances a little more than red flag laws, because it's not just a judge who
It's a whole thing.
well, you got a judge and a doctor
Right.
who have, two people have to agree that he's a threat to himself or others.
Right. But just like any other system, if people don't use it properly,
Right.
it's not going to work.
Right.
Exactly.
Okay, I know you did a lot of research on yellow flag and all that. Do you have kind of and I know it's been all over the news and everything else, but those individuals that don't watch the news like me, who just can't stand it, do you have kind of a brief synopsis, blow by blow, as to exactly what happened on the day of the shooting?
That really hasn't been released because he killed himself.
Gotcha.
So they've got to reconstruct what happened.
No,
leading up to
I
it.
mean, what I'm saying is do we know, like, he just walked in the front door with an AR? I'm assuming it was an AR. It
was.
looked
No.
like it, yeah.
No, it wasn't. It was not an AR-15.
What was it?
I forget what it was, but they said it was not an AR-15.
Okay.
It's probably like a Mini 14 or something.
Maybe
Yeah,
Mini 14
yeah.
or
No.
an assault rifle,
Right.
Or
It wasn't an
AK
assault
or
rifle.
AK or
something.
something. Yeah.
Well,
nobody can define what assault
Right,
rifle
well,
means.
yeah.
So, but basically, he walked into this bowling alley
With a
and just started
semi-automatic
blasting.
rifle.
right.
And he didn't pick a certain group, like, blacks, whites.
There's no indication that he picked that there was any targeting.
So it's not
of
like the
anyone.
Chicago
It
deal.
it was,
Right.
As far as all indications are, it was all random.
Whoever's freaking standing there gets shot.
But I'm going to a place where no one's going to shoot back at me.
Right. And I'm
That's
gonna,
the problem.
Man,
And you got to think. Well, you got to think. How does that help you? I've got these demons in my mind. Are they telling me to go in and just shoot innocent people? I mean, and then you do it, and you're like, oh, I feel better, and then you shoot yourself. I don't. Get, the mind is just
Can I
such
give
a
you my
scary. I would love to hear your thought, LT.
When I was a kid,
And I
Back in my
another old joke. Honest to God, and it'll never happen ever because it sells newspapers. Let's just say, if they discontinued all coverage of all of these events and did not blast them all over the news and internet and interwebs, as you call it, and everything else, these people would not have, these people, and when I say these people, I mean, I'm talking like teenagers and shit like that, wouldn't see this happening and wouldn't glorify this happening. They wouldn't even have this thought in their head.
So sort of like how law enforcement changed response to bomb threats.
Right. Yeah.
Right? Bomb threats back when I was in elementary school, so you were probably in college or something like that. Or you were on the job already.
Yeah, pretty much.
No, but I mean, they used to send the entire fire department, all the cops went to responded to where the bomb threat was.
Don't give away our secrets now.
You know,
Don't give away our secrets
and it's
now.
not the same.
it's not the
It's
same.
not the same. Don't
They
give
don't
away our
send
damn
as
secrets.
many.
Right. So, but
But
the
I'm
thing
just
is,
saying,
I
if
could-
it wasn't glorified by, hey, I got my name all over the national news and everything. I'm telling you, some of these people do this shit just so they can see their frickin' name in the damn news and all over the national
Well,
news
they're not
and
going to
everything
see
else.
it, but they feel they're going to be forever remembered.
but this guy killed himself, so he'd never see it.
Well, I think he probably decided to kill himself after he did what he did.
Do they
But
have
I
a-
think I just think that some of these people are looking at it and going, okay, I'm going to do this and I'm going to be all over and I'm going to make my name is going to be known through history as XYZ. And I think they just think that, man, because they're effed up in the head.
Well,
I
that
think
was another
I think
thing.
it goes deeper than that. I think that there's something in them that says,
How deep is it?
I'm not going to go there.
Something Camille has never heard.
Never.
Truth.
I think they're a short stack of buttons, right?
Camille is hung
A
like a
button.
bull. Yeah, like a bull hamster. Anyway, sorry. Go ahead.
Anyway, you know I'm going to cut all that out, right?
No, you're not. You better not.
Totally am. So,
I'm taking your damn editing power away from you.
go for it.
Please.
I think that their brain is so broken that I think they're like driven, like maybe they're everybody who bowls is an evil person.
Well, that's
which is
true.
not. I don't agree with that. I love my bowlers, but there's something in there deeper than just
can this-
publicity.
can this
No,
now-
I agree, but I'm not talking about every single one of them. I mean, I think there is a pretty high percentage of these people that do this thinking, I hate XYZ, I'm going to go do this. Everyone's going to know my name and that I hate XYZ and I took care of this shit. And the group that I want to be affiliated with or whatever is going to see it on the news and they're going to call me, a hero. I really think a lot of that happens. I really do.
and unfortunately, we might never know. I mean, he's dead. We might never know,
Right,
though, because
right.
the brain is so complex. John, question for you. Do we know how long between the shooting or approximate and he offed himself?
It was a day, I think.
Well,
wasn't it? Or
there
close to it?
really isn't.
Because they were looking for him like a week, right?
Well, yeah,
About
we don't
3 or
know
4
because they were
days.
looking for him
Well,
and he could have been already dead.
And I was actually going to talk about that a little bit. Just want to touch on it briefly because, and you'll appreciate this because you remember this happening with our department, kind of. He used to work for I believe it was a trucking company or a recycling company in the area. So they went and searched for him there,
Right.
Because he was familiar with that area. So that would be so if he's trying to hide out because they found his car, so they went and searched there, didn't find him, and then like 2 days later, the owner of that company called back and said, hey, did you search the lot across the street because we own that too?
Okay.
Like, oh well, we didn't search there, and he was found in the back of a tractor trailer on that lot.
Right. Okay.
But we had someone who worked with us who was supposed to search the parking lot of a plaza. It was a gas station,
Right.
but looking for suspects in a stabbing.
No.
And, we ended up catching the guy like 8 hours later or 6 hours later. And it's like, I thought you searched the area where he had been. It's like, yeah, but only employees park there. So we don't have to look there because
Right.
that's
Nobody
employee
else
parking.
would ever park
Nobody
there.
else would park there. Only employees would.
Cops are human and they're going to make mistakes, but our mistakes sometimes costs lives.
Yep.
Or injuries, and everything else. So unfortunately, at times we have to be as close to perfect as you can possibly be.
Yep.
And that's a tough road to hoe, man.
Yeah,
It really is.
because that one shit wipes out 10 out of
well,
us.
and that's
It
why
does.
when we started
Or
the
100.
show, we started the show, we were talking about we would have put an officer on that house.
Yep.
Absolutely.
Anywhere he may have been, we would have been
Yeah.
monitoring
Yeah.
constantly because this may happen.
Right. Absolutely.
And the laws have changed so drastically. We used to be able to ping a phone if we had a threat or an individual that was causing threats or whatever, and we thought that public safety was at large, or at jeopardy,
danger.
right, and in danger. We could ping a cell phone and track the son of a bitch right to wherever the hell he was. Well, now unless within 25 feet or 50
Right.
feet, but now unless they call 911. Or we feel that there's got to be a threshold that's way the hell up here. And I get it. Nobody wants Big Brother following everybody around and this and that and the other. But when public safety is at jeopardy, we need to relax some of these laws, man, on when we can ping these phones and when we can do whatever. Because shit like this happens. And they go, oh, well, it's law enforcement's fault. No, you tied our effing hands again, and we couldn't do our job.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that's what happened here. All I'm saying is
In general.
it happens
Yes.
all the time.
Yeah.
It is
happens all the time.
100% his fault.
yes.
It is not law enforcement's
No,
fault in any way,
absolutely.
shape, or form.
Absolutely.
I think the Army dropped the ball. I think the police departments that were involved could have been more proactive, could have done better, but it is 100% his fault.
And
He is
after
responsible.
every one of these incidents, we can learn something different. There's going to be
Right.
an after-action report. What could we have done next time?
Hey, we learned from
Hopefully
9/11.
Yep.
We learned from, the, oh my God.
Columbine?
Columbine. What was the, Sandy Hook.
And you learned from the Alamo.
We learned from
You learned
Sandy.
from the Trojan War.
We learned from Sandy Hook.
You don't
I
take
mean,
horses anymore, do you?
We learned from all of these cases. Oh, you guys are such assholes. It's a good thing I love you. I beat both your asses.
You saw what happened to Goliath.
But I think that, the more and more we learn, hopefully the better we get as a law enforcement community, as a community as a whole. And I just think that mental health is the key to a lot of these situations.
Absolutely.
We have to improve the way we deal with mental health.
Well, but one of the things is we have to start taking these people with mental health issues out of society.
Yeah.
And take them serious.
Seriously.
Take 'em serious.
But you have to take them out of society.
Yeah.
You do.
Okay.
They used to back in the old days,
Right.
not when I was a cop. Shut up.
In the 70s, 60s, and 70s, they
But
were
I mean, they took
institutionalized.
them out. They put them in a damn mental ward somewhere
Right.
until they got the help they needed. And I'm not saying we need to do that the way they did it back then because
Right,
it
I
was
mean,
cruel and unusual.
yeah,
some of the
and they were doing
situations.
experimentation.
Well,
and
lobotomy.
What's that?
Conducting.
A little dab will do you. Right, Mr. Jackson?
Open your mouth.
What's that?
This will keep you from biting your tongue.
Well,
Now just bite down on it. That's right. Just bite down. Now bite down on it.
And all that,
and
right.
stuff
But
like
I'm
that.
saying we need to put these individuals, some of them, into an institutionalized environment where they can get the help they need, and it is specific help to their problem. They see a doctor or whatever every single day.
Because one of the biggest problems, how many times did you deal with a mental illness crisis where it's like, yeah, I'm on meds, but I'm not taking them anymore
A bunch of times.
because I feel good enough and the meds make me not feel good.
Yep,
Right.
it's a cycle.
And then bam, all of a sudden they hit an episode.
Right.
And they're out of control.
Yep.
Right.
All right, guys, we're going to have to wrap this up.
Yeah.
If you guys have any comments on the mental health issue or the yellow flag. We think that we should make this a little bit more stringent. Whatever you think, we love your comments. Thank you for viewing. Our last video got 1.6 thousand views. We're trying to ramp it up.
Thank
If
you.
you like this video, hit that like and subscribe below, and make sure you tell all your friends.
With Christmas coming up, merchandise.
Yep, Christmas is coming up. We got a lot of merchandise on our merch show. On our merch site. Please visit it. The link is down below in the comments. We got T-shirts, coffee mugs, you name it, we got it on there. Hoodies, everything else. Surviving the badge, and make someone proud to wear the Thin Blue Line.
Yep.
Let's face it.
Absolutely.
All right, guys. Hey, you got any further comments? I think we're
I'm
good.
good. We're good.
Hey, it's Surviving the Badge.
We still got your six.
Absolutely. Salute. Stay safe out there.